we've gone for a bit of a walk. Nice spot, but getting tired. So it might be about time to set up camp. Not a bad looking spot. I like the view. So I think I've found my spot now. I'm going to test out new hammock from OZ Hammocks. It's the I think it's a jungle green or an OD green with a built-in bug net, mozzie net. So we're going to give that a shot. I've not unpacked this yet. I'll show you. I've still got it in the plastic. I've not had one before. So we will see if they're any good, and if you can simply buy one and go bush with it. So here's our spot, or roughly where I want our spot to be. Beautiful little view here. So I'd like to lay in my hammock and watch that if I can. Now we've got a tree here. Obviously this was all burnt in the bushfires. This is a good solid base, even though this is broken at the top. Problem with that is there is a lot of undergrowth through here that you'd have to set the hammock up through, as opposed to the area that I'm standing here, which is basically bare ground. Again, this tree here, not bad. This one, not bad. Good distance. This one's kind of in the way. I'd have to shave off all that new growth off the side of him, which I'd prefer to not do. So let's have a bit more of a look around, eh? Alright, I think we've found our spot. I can get a tie off around this tree here, across to here. It's about 5 meters instead of the 3 I was looking for. But you know what? Let's see if this hammock can do it. Hopefully they've given us enough cordage to be able to actually tie it up. We'll give it a shot. We'll see how it goes. The hammock itself, not bad. Feels pretty sturdy. However, I am going to change this little paracordy stuff that it came with. It comes with these wrap straps. Yeah, they're just a flat webbing strap. The strap itself is plenty strong enough. It has an eyelet at both ends, so I've just gone round the tree back through the eyelet to give it a firm hold. That means everything else is hanging on that stitching. And same at that end, if it will focus, which it may not. Anyway, yeah. So everything, all my body weight is pulling on that 3 runs of stitching there. I think it'll be strong enough, but it's certainly a weak point in the system. Obviously I don't necessarily trust the breaking strain of this, because it doesn't look like a great quality cord, in the fact that it's all frayed at the end already. They're just a cheap bit of cord, I think. I'm going to put in a different attachment system, probably just some heavier nylon rope. Hammock itself, the zips feel good. All this sort of join stitching, that all looks good. As I say, comfy enough to get into. Zip side, it runs the full length, so right the way down to the feet, so it's easy to get in and out. However, once you're in, you're really going to want that zip pretty much, well, I guess just past the pocket, so you can tuck your leg in and get in there. Otherwise you've got to try and sit up and get fairly unbalanced to get down to your toes to grab that zip. So I may modify this, designate a head end and a foot end for my setup, and actually put a tag line onto that zip so I can have it fully open, drop the tag line into the carry bag, and all I've got to do is reach into here, grab the tag line and actually zip it up from my feet. I think that's going to make it better to get into. Again, same strap system with this triple stitch section that all the weight's pulling on, and then just up into the tree. Little carabiners, we'll see whether they distort with body weight. They seem to still be working. I haven't distorted them from laying in it. Just a bunched section through there. That all looks good. So yeah, like most hammocks, easy enough to set up. I like laying fairly flat, so I tension them up reasonably firm. Especially first time, you basically want to pull it tight so that once you get in and everything stretches a bit, you get that bit of sag. I've run the tarp on a bit of a downhill angle just so that if it does rain, any water's going to run down to the tail end. Again, my head is slightly higher than the bottom, just so that I give the water the best chance possible of running off. I know once I lay in it, it's going to belly out, but we should be fairly good there. Obviously the little clip shackle jobbies at the end here should act as a bit of a drip loop, but no guarantee either. What that should probably have is a second ring hooked onto here and then the rope, so that the ring will actually hang this way and you'll end up with a bottom dip in the ring rather than just the rope running onto here. The water can still run around, wick into here, and if you were in heavy rain for a while, still reckon you're going to get wet. So I think by adding a second stainless steel ring on the end, that will probably eliminate pretty much any of the water issues that you may get. Other than that, I'm going to lay down for a while, have a bit of a rest, and enjoy the view. Well, I made a couple of mistakes with that hammock setup, so time to fix that. So first of all, I made this mistake. Not anything to do with its braking strain or how that's set up, but this cord and the other one that came with it that I repurposed onto my tarp, they, although there's only two cords, they actually come along onto these little tabs of the mosquito net, or the bug net, to actually hold this up. So we've got this strapping section here, one in the middle, one down the end here. 3 attachment points for the bug net and 2 bits of string. So I mightn't be real flash with maths, but I reckon we're 1 short. Now the other thing that means is that we have to have a ridge line, because without a ridge line you've got nowhere to actually attach these bug netting straps to. So what I'm going to do is, as I did with the top tarp section here, I'm going to get some vine, which the ground is covered in this vine, find some thick bits, tie onto here, free up that piece, and then I always carry a roll of survivor cord. So for those of you that haven't seen survivor cord, we have our jute, wax jute center there for tinder. If you'll focus, we have a copper thread, just there, and then just there we have what looks to be about 4-pound fishing line, and the rest is sort of your standard paracord arrangement. Anyway, I always carry a roll of that. I don't use it all that often, it's just as a spare, but what I'll do is probably roll that out for a ridge line. As I said, repurpose this piece of cord over here, tie my bug net up. And the other thing, and I know this about hammocks, is you get a lot of cold draw, or almost like a sucking cold effect through this material on your back as you lay down. So in my kit I always carry an extra large bivvy bag. That is great for 1,000,001 things. In a pinch, I don't have to go through this arrangement to set up. I can just lay that on the ground, crawl in, and get out of the weather. So the bivvy bag is a great bit of kit. It does take up a bit of room, but that's a decision I've decided to make and allow room in my pack for. That lives with me. Basically, this bag lives with me full time. This is the equipment in it, and that bivvy bag, I'm going to be warm enough in there for the next few hours. Although it's winter in the southern part of Australia, it doesn't get that cold, and I'm on the ocean, so we're not going to get below freezing here. Because we've only got one ridge pole, or one ridge line, but we've got 2 tie-off points to try and get this bug net to spread out and not just clump in the middle. All I've done is grab a little Y section of a branch here, cut it to length, and then just cut a little notch in that end, just enough to catch the little eyelet there. Now that spreader will be enough to keep that up off my face. Obviously this creates a tension point and then just a triangle up over the single at the top. As I said, one bivvy bag laid out in the bottom of here. I've got my wet weather rain jacket as a pillow. We've got our bug net. It's just hooked up on there. Get it around that edge. There we go, and that'll roughly be a little sleeping cocoon and arrangement. And when I need to, the tarp which I've set up in that diamond pattern, I can just flick the other side over, drive a little peg in the corner, wedge that down, and I've got myself a bug-proof, waterproof, warm sleeping arrangement. So how did I find the hammock? Well, not bad. All in all, it's held up fine. There's been no let go of any stitching yet. I'm yet to do a full night in it. Obviously this is just a bit of a take it out, set it up, use it, sleep in it for a few hours kind of review. But other than the lack of, I guess, cordage that comes with the hammock, certainly not a deal breaker because it's something that I can fix myself. It's just be aware that if you buy one of these and chuck it straight in your pack, which you should never do, and go bush with it without testing it, you will come up short. It would appear that this is designed to connect direct to the little clips here. This paracord is actually for the bug netting, which means because there's no tension adjustment in these straps, these are going to give you only a fixed length that you can set up to. So when you're out bush and using nature for the poles, you don't have a set length to work with, so you're going to have to carry extra cordage to be able to bridge this distance basically. Other than that, you do need a ridge line. Now whether you're going to use, you know, a stick that you're going to stick between the two, whether you're going to try and, you know, if you've got a tarp with you know, internal eyelets or something that you could string up to, possibly, I would say that this arrangement is going to work far better in the future, to simply run a good solid ridge line down here that I can, 1, drape my tarp over, 2, suspend the hammock off if I need to, and 3, tie up the bug net to the ridge line. So a ridge line, a heavy ridge line rope is going to be a must in this kit, which I will modify. The other thing that I've discovered, as I said earlier, being able to put a tag line on these zippers, probably even stitched back into here so that you can't drop them, is going to be a really good addition to this setup. Having to get in here, get your feet in, and then somehow get down to that zip is a bit of a pain. The zip also does need to be all the way down and open when you get in. If the zips are only halfway down, oh, there we are, there's our zip there. When you go to sit in here, you can see how that's pulling up. That creates a pressure point there, and I can guarantee if you get in and out with your zips not fully opened, these little zips are going to snap. They're going to hold too much weight when you go to get in, so they need to be all the way up here so that there's no extra pull pressure on your zip and you don't bust your zips out. So that is something to consider, but I think taglines on those zips are going to solve that perfectly. Now, as far as this hammock's quite a deep side, by the time you're laying in it, if you could tension the sides up fully and spread them, they're well and truly above your shoulder and head height. So by having this tensioned up even a bit higher on that ridge line would be good. That would give you a bit more head clearance, but even at that, just having that at resting tension a little bit higher than the edge of the hammock was more than enough clearance to be comfortable, that I could roll around, move my head, and not have my head up against the bug net, so I'm not going to get bitten through it. Other than that, they seem like a good sturdy hammock. The stitching all looks good, and yeah, I like it. Alright, we're packed up, we're ready to go. All loaded, all good. Now, remember, when you're out in the bush, when you leave camp, that is what it should look like. There shouldn't be really any evidence that you were there. If you've had a campfire, you make sure it disappears. Make sure it's out. I haven't had one this trip, so no need to worry there. But if you've moved a whole heap of stuff around, if you've dug holes, if you've done anything like that, spend 5 minutes and put it back the way it was. You know, it looks unreal being out here, knowing that very few people have probably been, you know, from where the beach is down there, just up the top to where I am. And it's nice. If I came here and found 30 holes dug and 10 fires, it just wouldn't feel the same. Wouldn't be as nice. So let's all do our bit, make sure we keep this place looking as good as when we turned up. If you find some junk that somebody else has left while they were here, they're a good bloke, or check and pick it up. Won't take much, just make this place that much better. Mind you, you can't get too much better than that, really. It's pretty good. Alright, I will make my way down this hill. Just as a point of reference, when you are trying to make your way down a hill or something like this, let me just show you. It's not much of a track through here, but in between the trees, if you look carefully, you can see little game trails where the animals have been moving. And you know what? If the highway is good enough for the animals, I reckon I can use it as well. Makes moving through the bush a lot easier if you can identify and follow game trails. Anyway, I'm going to pop this away, make my way down the steep bit, and although we're nearly down, maybe in the very near future I will see you at one of our training camps.